Chicken Little and the ancient art of fear. So we're going to talk about fear because people will write to me and say stuff like, "Oh, Big Bear, you're so courageous. You know, you put yourself out there for everybody, man. You're so." Listen, I get it. I'm bold and I'm honest, but I'm going to break down what your real threats actually are and how fear imprisons you. Okay, so everybody has seen the movie, and a lot of it comes from movies and media. These images, these horrible images, they get put in your subconscious, and you think those are the things that are going to come get you. Okay, what's the biggest fear a man can have? That someone hurts their family. It's not about them being hurt, it's about the family. That's the biggest fear a man can possibly have. And a lot of people are stuck in submission and fear because they think someone could hurt their family. So here's a classic image of Kaiser Sose. Kaiser Sose from Usual Suspects. He comes home and he sees that all these gangsters have his family and they're going to hurt his family, and then he kills his own family and burns everything to the ground. Right? We all have these images in our head. You want to know who's really killing your kids? It's called Planned Parenthood. $40 million a year. $40 million a year. Think about fear. Think about what it's done, where they scare you and say, no one's going to protect your kid. You won't be able to go to college. You won't be able to get a job. Everything will fall apart. This child will not be loved. The world is horrible. The woman goes in and kills their own kids, their firstborn kids. $40 million a year. $40 million. You know the odds of a Kaiser Sose type incident? 0? I'm talking about in America. There are places in the world where that is a valid threat. You're a Christian living in Pakistan. There's situations where that you have to prepare for that. But listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Islam, but there's some good stuff in the Quran. There's one good line that says, trust in God, but tie up your camel. It's like protect your home, get cameras, get security, get guns, know your neighbors, keep an eye out for strangers, all that. But this isn't the threat. That is fear will make you this guy. You'll walk right in and you'll kill your own kid. Poisoning, right? Isn't that another thing people are scared of? It's like, Big Bear, watch out for your packages. By the way, I will be opening packages. I just will open it off camera just in case it's something weird. So poisoning, watch out. You're going to be poisoned. You want to know where your poisoning is going to come from? Right there. It's called Walgreens. Walgreens. All the poison in there you can't imagine. Bottles of liquor. If you drank a jug of any of those liquors, you die. The corn syrup, the opioids, the painkillers, poison. That's where the poison is. And your hitman is yourself. Like, here's me and my son yesterday. My wife made him his own cape with a W on it for Super Walter because something to actually be afraid of is too much media consumption. So instead of getting him, because he likes Mr. Incredible, but I don't want him wearing symbols that I don't understand, and I don't want him to get too into idols. So my wife made him his own cape. Look at that. So in those moments, right, if you've watched enough this Investigation Discovery, you're always reverting to fear, right? You're like, oh, this moment, someone could hurt my family. This is so good, someone is coming. That's programming. This guy isn't coming. And this is coming from a guy who that guy would come for, right? I am an unchecked person with a huge following, right? So I'm trying to pass on my information that I have based on genuine fears that I felt and why they're there and statistically what will kill me. When I realized that I was in more danger being a Hollywood scumbag, You know, in my 20s, I remember one time I hooked up with this girl I didn't even know. And the next morning when I drove her home, I was still probably drunk, you know, driving through a city, like with a stranger that had just slept in my bed right near my arteries. Think about how much more dangerous that is. Going to after parties at places you don't know. You don't know these people. You're intoxicated. You're full of booze. You're full of drugs. You're around strangers. You're depressed. You're not thinking straight. Guys, that's poison. That's this. You're doing it to yourself. And so now as someone who people are like, I'm praying for you. I hope you're safe. But I'm telling you straight up where the fear comes from. And it's a way to control people. They're telling you it's the id. You know, so I have been robbed. Some of these moments when I just think, God, I'm so lucky. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God, for this family, for this health, for this life that we're on the trampoline playing. I will have moments of fear where I'm like, he's so wonderful. He's so great. Someone could hurt him because of what I've said or done. And then I'll think, check the fences, you know, check the wires, check the guns, and it's like, no, that came from these images. We've watched trauma over and over and over again in movies. Trauma that you've never experienced. Trauma that doesn't exist in your life statistically. So what I'm trying to say is the insight I had, and listen, someone may blow my head off. I'm not arrogant in that sense. I'm not hubristic. I know that there's people who hate me. I know that what I do isn't the safest thing in the world. I know that this isn't a taunt. This isn't a come and get me situation. I want to live. I want my family to prosper. I want safety for my family more than anything in the world. And like, that's it. And I want to share these insights because these moments sometimes, there's nothing better than time with your kids. There's nothing better. There's nothing better than playing with your kids. And some of these moments will be robbed from me because of all the images and trauma that I've let in my mind because of media and movies, conditioning. That's why it's called programming. That's why Vox Day and I and some other people are making movies. We're literally going to start crowdfunding movies that don't do this to your mind. We're even writing one about the moon landing. And so, yeah, unauthorized.tv, it's bookmark it because the streams will still be free, but become a supporter. There will be perks. Just click that Feed the Bear thing, support what you love. Because when you're living with a homeless crackhead, he may not have stolen your wallet, but if your wallet's gone, he might have. And that's the situation with YouTube every single day. And these bannings, you know, and it's like, oh, Trump has acknowledged the bannings. Oh, Ben Shapiro is against, he's pro-censorship. He's all about these bannings. He doesn't consider these people conservatives because conservative means Trotskyite. It means a world revolutionary. So don't trust these people. You know, it's kind of like Betsy, one of my goats, always kicks. About halfway through the milking, always kicks. Neva, my other goat, I might change Betsy's name to Stacy. She's more of a Stacy. But Neva never kicks. So the victim mentality would be, oh, great, I lost my milk again because she kicked me. No, once you know it's a goat that sometimes kicks, you milk differently and you adjust. The goat kicks. What am I going to do? Explain that to her? And a lot of people that have accepted the lie on the left and right, there is no left, right. People that have accepted the lie, liars, people that speak, listen, you can say something totally wrong and totally evil and be a good person if you believe it's true. That's the difference. The difference is, are you naive to it? Do you know what's true and say the opposite for the lollipops in your fancy pants? Because if so, you become an animal. Bah, bah, there's no reasoning with them. And all these people, they're like, well, if only Zuckerberg knew that, I mean, look at this hypocrisy. They're animals. Once you accept the lie, once you are caught, once it's known, and I'm not talking about did you eat the last cookie? Don't get me wrong. I'm strict on that stuff in my life too, especially as someone that is now, I guess I have to consider myself a recovering alcoholic. I don't know if that's really that's so weird. Such a weird term. But you can't let any of it slide. Because once someone is a known liar, you can be wrong as hell. You can say stuff that 10 years later, you're like, I can't believe I thought that. But if you thought it, you're not an animal. You still have your soul. And it's like, that's all we have. Because if not, we're animals. And when people, it's like trying to reason with these people that have accepted the lie is exactly like reasoning with a goat. I'm not exaggerating. You realize they kick, you adjust. Or you can sit there and talk to the goat for an hour with words. Guess what? The goat, they're not, there's no logos. That's what logos is. Logos, the word, logic, God, it's all the same thing. All right, as I land this plane, I have two jokes I want to run past you guys. Because when I'm live, and I will be doing another tour, just after growing season's done, I want to say a bit about how I was such a dumb kid. That all kids are kind of dumb. Like, I thought drinking and driving was just drinking, like, water or juice, but being like, ah! That people, when they drank and drove, like, when you drank in your car, for whatever reason, you start acting crazy. It's like, oh, he got caught drunk, he was drinking and driving. And I just pictured people I'd be like, no way, guy's so bad. And I just picture someone with, like, juice being like, nah. I don't know. I got to think of more examples. Please comment more examples. And another thing, if my name was Stan, I would tell people that all these countries were named after me. I'd be like, Uzbekistan? That's one of ours. Pakistan? Yeah, who was this Stan? I don't know. And those are both just seeds. We'll grow some jokes out of there. Just FYI, a lot of my jokes when I'm live are not telling people that despair is a sin. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can make it funny sometimes, but that isn't textbook stand-up comedy. It's just, it's important. And since Captain Cutler pointed out yesterday that just in the letters I was opening, there was a 17-year-old and a 74-year-old. He was like, dude, you can't create that demographic reach if you're like a marketing whiz. You have farmers, engineers, military, like the married couples in Idaho, a gay guy in Manhattan. It's like, you can't, the only way, marketing and PR and all this stuff is designed to get around logos. It's like, how do we make all this money? How do we push a fake narrative but get as many eyeballs as we can? If you speak reality, which is what I'm doing, when you speak what you believe to be true, there is no demographic. It's everybody. Everybody. Jew and Gentile, black and white, tall and short, male and female. Everybody that isn't a duck or a goat. And there are people that are outside of logos now. They've accepted the lie. They're children of the lie. They're in. Unauthorized.tv, we just had a spike recently in subscribers. I'm very, very glad. We don't need a ton of people, but I don't want to lose you guys because it will come. The purges come. I will be gone. And if you're in the lazy river of dumb shit life, you'll just be like, huh, whatever happened to that guy? No way, a lollipop. Fancy pants. Oh, I'm dead. The conservatives conserve nothing. They're just old guys getting paid a fortune to bitch as the boat sinks. And I'm not one of them. I'm right-wing conservative, American. And for people being like, why don't you have white pride? I don't have white pride. That's like saying cis pride. It's retarded. In 50 years, it would be the equivalent of someone saying, why don't you have cis pride? What are you, some kind of cis hater? It's like the word cis itself was to make normal people be a minority. Same thing with white. White was created to dismantle the nations. Think about that. Think about that before you call me some kind of cuck or self-hating or a Jew boy or whatever you guys want to call me. The word white is just like cis. It's just been so used for so long you don't even realize it. Having white pride is the same as cis pride. Be American Christian and have a nation. I'm omni-nation. Omni-nation, is that a word? Omni-nationalist? Where it's like everybody deserves their nation. And if you follow the rules of Christendom, if you follow the rules of discourse, logos, you don't need to go to war with each other. You can just self-determine. Self-determination is a beautiful and wonderful thing. Everyone deserves their nation. And the flaw of supremacists, which is a flaw, guys, is saying that your nation is genetically superior to all other nations and that you have the right to kill them and take their land. That is not logos. You can think that you have the most pride and love for your nation. That's expected, just like your family. But that's the equivalent of saying my children are better than your children, so I'm going to kill yours and take your house. That's insane. Now, I'm rooting for my kids a little more than your kids. I'm not going to lie, but your kids have just as right to be alive as my children do, unless you break the rules of Christendom, unless you break the rules of logos. Then there's punishment. But the reason these white guys are wrong, and it will lead. You can't fight reality. That is wrong. We all know it's wrong to be like, white power, we got to take over everybody else because we're superior. That is wrong. Love your people, love your nation. And that is genetic, that is tribal, that is ethnic. Yes. But you don't get to go into another home and take their home because you think your kids are on the honor roll. That's the problem. That's the break of logos. People have a right to self-determine. Nationalities, nation. Nation is ethnic. Yes. The word white is just like cis. It's to marginalize normal people in their nation. American nation was traditionally Anglo. Why would you invent white if not to demoralize yourselves? Just say American. American, Christian. That's enough. If you now say white, you've just used a subcategory like cis. Okay, that's all I got to say today. Hit the Rogan's Up button, share it, like it, all that stuff. Be good. Grow, create, love, honor, pray. The hitman is in your own mind, and it's been programmed for a long, long time. That's another thing that's in the Quran. And I'm not preaching Islam, guys. It's just know that there is elements of logos in most religions. But I have to get to original sources, or else I can't lay judgment anymore. There's been too many reveals of deceptions lately for me to just go off what I've seen on television. There's just way, way, way too many deceptions for me just to quote other people. And Islam, if taken to its caliphate, would put me in a little box or chop my head off. So I'm not, that Saudi Wahhabism is one of the biggest threats to, that's a fact. But many elements of it are totally logos. And I know I'm going to get hate for saying that, but it's just true. There is a whole thing about be responsible for what goes in your eyes and your ears. And that's not putting your head in the sand. It's like, don't watch snuff porn. Don't watch porn. Don't watch trauma. Don't expose your children to values that you don't like. Like, you have a responsibility to figure out what's going in your eyes and your ears. Because if not, those images will replay. The average person has the trauma of a former warrior just by watching all these movies and TV. And listen, you can. I'm not saying they should be banned, but have the self-discipline to be like, do I really want to watch a child abduction movie? Then you're like, that fear is in your mind. And then you go to Walgreens and poison yourself. We don't need hitmen. The hitman is ourselves. And the fact I'll be 40 in a year and 3 weeks, the fact that I will most likely make it that far is a big, big, big win. And not because of how I act now. This is life, what I'm doing now. Surviving my 20s in Hollywood, as lost as I was, is unbelievable. The fact I found love walking my dog on the street in LA with my wife is miraculous. That's the odds we beat. That was teetering on death where I was there. Not now. Me and Amy have been in situations where we should have died. We should have broken up. We should have gone down this road where Walter and Charlie wouldn't exist. That's tragedy. And that is not happening now. This is life. This is protection. This is safety. This is beauty. This is logos. This is honoring God, honoring America, honoring our family. And it's like, I just wanted to pass that on. I love you guys, and be good. Unauthorized.tv and archavencomics.com for the new audiobook. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon.